right now decided I was going to sit Shiva for the Florida State football team because their season's dead. It's dead. The season's deader than a doornail. We're done. But then I decided that I'm going to go the opposite route. Okay, we're still alive because for the next hour, I cannot wait to hear Logan Robinson's excuses for Mike Norvell. I can't wait to hear how somehow, some way, Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, is going to figure out a way to blame this on Willie Taggart. It's going to happen over the next hour. So I don't like popcorn. I think popcorn tastes disgusting, but I do like popcorn chicken. So shout out to our friends from Publix, popcorn chicken. So I've got my popcorn ready, and I am ready to go for the next hour of excuse making from these two.
Okay. I'm going to set up the rest of the discussion from you two just by merely saying this. As an obligation to the show, to the channel, to being the voice of college football, I watch everything I possibly can get to. Okay, this particular game, not on television. Now, I was sitting there watching all those noon games, and
it was on TV.
Not on television.
Yeah, it was like on Fox Sports Connecticut or whatever shows Connecticut Soul Games or whatever your WNBA team is. Yeah, it was just on regional.
I could not find it on television. Anyway, I was watching a bunch of other games, and it was halftime, and I found it on like online. Anyway, I watched the last couple drives of the first half, and then they went to halftime, and they showed the Louisville drive chart for the first half.
Yes.
And I saw like 7 plays, 75 yards, 5 plays, 65 yards. Everything was successful. Boom, 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 boom. And I watched the last couple drives of the half, and I watched Jordan Travis painfully try to throw the ball downfield a few times. And again, I watched the Louisville drive chart in the last couple drives that were successful, and heard the statistic that they had gained 410 yards in the first half.
Correct. You didn't miss much after the first drive. Florida State got the ball to start the game. Jordan Travis scored on a fumble that he picked up, that it bounced back to him, that he ran past the defender and got into the end zone for the first score of the game. And you thought, oh, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. No, it's actually better to be good than lucky, because then Louisville scored, I believe it was 38 straight points or 31. Logan, how many straight points did Louisville score?
Too much.
Yeah, too much.
So terrible memory.
Essentially what happened, and I'm actually going to apologize to the Louisville fans, those who watch the show, because I did not give them enough credit for being better than their record is. Yes, they were 1-4 team coming into the game. They played a hell of a lot better than a 1-4 team. Something I just have to point out here real quick, though. I just want to point this out real quick. Louisville scored 6 touchdowns in that game. 5 of them were scored by players from the state of Florida. Javian Hawkins, their running back, who scored 3 touchdowns, is from Cocoa Beach. Tutu Atwell, their wide receiver, who scored 2 touchdowns, including the long touchdown where he was literally left unguarded. How Tutu Atwell is being left unguarded, we can talk about that defense later and why I think Adam Fuller should lose his job, but we'll talk about that as we go on here. Tutu Atwell was the 2017 Player of the Year in – what county is he from? Hold on, let me look real quick. Oh, Miami-Dade County. He was the best player in Miami, and we didn't offer him. Why? Because he's, 5'9"? I don't give a damn how tall he is. The fact that he is playing at Louisville and not at Florida State shows the problems with Jimbo Fisher and Willie Taggart with their recruiting during 3 seasons in Tallahassee. Letting recruits leave the state of Florida, it's one thing if they go to Ohio State. It's another thing if they go to Alabama, Clemson, power programs. I get it. I understand that. To let Javian Hawkins and Tutu Atwell be 2 of many players on Louisville. Louisville has traditionally recruited the state of Florida well, Lamar Jackson being from down here, from Boynton Beach and whatnot. To let these guys leave is unacceptable, and that is the root of the problem with Florida State football right now. Is you're letting these players leave Cocoa Beach, leave Miami. The best player in Miami-Dade County in 2017 doesn't get an offer from Florida State. That is unacceptable.
I've got a question for both of you that plays off the recruiting topic
Yes,
even
sir.
though we're going to get back to this game, because I'm just trying to envision Louisville, Florida State. Okay, these teams are comparable, but Florida State's got more talent. How in the world did this just become a wipeout coming off the North Carolina effort? Anyway, some states, when you bring up, okay, a particular program let the best recruits in the state get away, as Jason was just outlining for us, some states are very connected. Like the entire state is very unified. Other states are very, very segregated in regards to the north and the south portions of the state are just disconnected, and Southerners in that particular portion of the state just don't feel connected to the other part. They're just disconnected. Maybe the Pittsburgh side of Pennsylvania and the Philadelphia side of Pennsylvania just don't even feel like they're in the same state, for example. I don't know that to be true. California, so forth. So a player who grew up in Miami and plays high school football in Miami, is there really a connection to Florida State?
If you think that, and I do actually want to hear what Logan has to say, because Logan and I have had these whole North Florida, South Florida discussions before.
We're talking like 10 or 12 hours away, right?
There's a lot of players.
Six.
Yeah, I mean, probably about 6 or 7 hours. 6 the way I drive, but normally probably about 7 hours. Sorry, I apologize. I'm not saying that Tutu Atwell probably did grow up a fan. He was in that. They covered him in the documentary about Liberty City, about the Optimist team that he played on down here that was coached by Luther Campbell. I'm sure he grew up a Miami fan. I'm sure that's fine. I'm sure that if he had gotten an offer from Florida State, and he also didn't get offers from Florida or Miami. He didn't get offers from any of the big 3 schools in the state of Florida. If you had told a kid from Miami, you can go play at Florida State or go to Louisville, at that time, I'm pretty sure he would have gone to Florida State, even if he had grown up a huge fan of Miami. It's the fact that we didn't even offer him. It's the fact that the 2018 class included Keyshawn Helton, who at times is good, but at times hasn't shown up. Jordan Young, who I at times didn't even remember was a part of the team anymore. And what other wide receivers were part of that 2018 signing class that Tutu Atwell went to Louisville in? The problem is the fact that we didn't even offer. The problem is that we didn't even offer a kid who was the 2017 Player of the Year in Miami-Dade County, arguably the greatest county of high school football talent in the state of Florida, and maybe the greatest county of high school talent in the country. And he kicked, sorry for the language, he kicked our ass for Louisville. Not for Miami, not for Florida.
Mark Rogers on YouTube.
Well, Mark Rogers.
Tutu Atwell and I are spoken of in the same sentence.
You and Tutu Atwell both kick ass. But Tutu Atwell was kicking our ass for Louisville. Not for Miami, not for Florida, for Louisville. Sorry, Jason Gill. Let's pose a picture on a desk. Let's pose a picture on a desk. Here.
I'm a happy man.
I'll be happy after the Ravens kick the Steelers' butt on Sunday. But we'll talk about that in the next hour.
Sundays had to make up for Saturdays for Logan.
Oh my God! I mean,
6-0.
if I didn't have my Steelers like the way they are right now, my weekends would be brutal. My Mondays would suck, but it's a whole complete 180. I look forward to my Mondays. Like on Monday when I'm at work, I'm in the best mood, and it feels so nice to be undefeated. I wish I could start covering the Steelers, a team that can go on a run and complete drives.
I say this as your friend. You should bottle up that feeling for after this next weekend.
I don't know about that one, Captain. My take on the game, if we're just going off of the Atwell coming off of your topic there, Adam Fuller, why don't you have, and Woodson, why don't you have Asante Samuel Jr., one of the top corners in the country right now on Tutu Atwell? That's a whole other discussion. We've already talked about Atwell enough, but that's just idiotic. Another idiotic thing defensively. Mari Gaynor's having a great start to his season, and then the last 2 games you don't see him, and most certainly in this last one where you'd like to have a guy going east and west on the inside where Louisville was eating it up with an average quarterback. 4-year players, linebackers can't make a tackle. You'd like to have a guy, Amari Gaynor, who leads games with tackles out there. That's just kind of like something that came off of my mind. It might be a good idea to see 33 out there. But you know where they were using them? In goal line packages. It just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. It's astonishing. But I think those two things were pivotal. Once again, the defensive line doesn't show up. I will never predict them. I will never predict anything on the defensive line moving forward. I don't know really what 21 is doing. I didn't know if even Durden played on Saturday. It's just the same old, same old. So not the same old from defensive line. And then offensively, we're about to figure out where they want to go quarterback-wise, because I know Tamarion Terry's not playing, but wide receivers weren't showing up, drops after drop. Keyshawn Helton, man, what's going on? You blow it up, and that's what I was worried about. We talked about it. I was worried that this team was going to be just rejuvenated after that win, and that was just going to be it. That was pretty much going to be their Super Bowl, and then after that, just let it down. And it sure was that. It sure was. Everybody was fine. You still have your starting quarterback playing, but I think other teams are going to start figuring out if they can contain Jordan Travis, and I don't think he's fully healthy whatsoever. But if you can contain him, then this offense is really spared with what they can do. All you can really do is Webb right now. The passing game is not there. So there's a lot of work to be done. Once again, at least there's steps in the offensive line. I thought they had a really good game in protecting Jordan Travis, definitely for passing attempts. But other than that, it was just an atrocious play. And once again, you really saw guys quitting on the ball. 18, just lets them go right by them. And you hate to see losing effort like that, because it just starts a disease that's been terrible in Tallahassee. It was getting better, but that game in Louisville, it was over after about mid of the second quarter, which sucks. And it's worse than the Miami game. It's worse than the Miami game to me.
This was the worst loss. First of all, let's say this was the worst loss of the season. This was worse than the Georgia Tech loss, because the Georgia Tech loss, you could at least say, hey, we didn't have spring football. You could use the Logan Robinson line of excuses. We didn't have spring football. We're in a pandemic where, it's the new head coach. And they played decent at times against Georgia Tech. They did not play decent at all against Louisville. That defense looks like it gave up. And I will give Logan all the credit in the world. Logan hit the nail on the head. The fact that Asante Samuel Jr. is not guarding Tutu Atwell is disgusting. It's a fireable offense. It's 100.
I've never seen anything like it. And of course, he's who they put on is Brownlee, who doesn't have a ton of experience too. But Tutu Atwell is going to be an NFL wide receiver. Asante Samuel Jr. is going to the league. I just it's astonishing that is happening, and the Amari Gaynor thing is still.
Logan on the Asante Samuel, on the Tutu Atwell touchdown, he literally was left unguarded at the line. I'm sitting here screaming at my TV right here. I'm looking at this TV right now. I'm sitting here screaming, going, "Who the F is guarding Tutu Atwell?" Yes, I edited for you there, Mark. Who the F is guarding Tutu Atwell? No one, and he scores a touchdown on his long catch that set up the first touchdown. Who's guarding him? No one is guarding him. I will give a shout out to your boy Amari Gaynor. The fact that he's not getting more love in that game was disgusting. This was the worst loss, because I'll give Miami credit. Miami is a good team. I'll give Notre Dame credit. Notre Dame is a good team. Georgia Tech was it was what it was at the start of the season. It happened to be one of those games. There is no excuse for losing to Louisville like that. Louisville's a good team. Louisville's not 32 points better than us. We've been outscored 69-16 in our last 6 quarters of play. 69-16. And this is improvement. To quote one of my favorite movies, this is your king, Logan? Mike Norvell is your king?
Who said? I never said anybody is king of anything, but obviously going to Louisville is extremely embarrassing. I was thinking the locker room was going to stay fixated. I mean, we heard from players after their interviews after the North Carolina game, and they said they were focused and they were ready just to get ready and prepare for Louisville. We got to get back to work on Sunday, all this kind of jazz, blah, blah, blah. But it really goes back to looking back at players that still might have been into the Jimbo area or the Willie Taggart area. You're about to see a big flux of guys leaving. From what I've heard, there's multiple guys, even parents that really just need to get their ass off Twitter, are going to be leaving this program soon. I don't know how many games it's going to take. But there's just still some bad disease. The mental game right now is shot in that locker room. I think there's a lot of miscommunication between players, between veterans and young ones coming in that really believe in Norvell. I mean, there's a group chat with guys committed to Mike Norvell that, we talked to them immediately after the game, and they said, I'm still committed. I believe in Mike Norvell in the process. It's just going to take a while, but I'm going to play and compete and win my job out as a true freshman. And that's the kind of mentality I think that hopefully Mike Norvell is going to continue to recruit, because right now I think there's still some guys that are anchoring down from where Florida State can go talent-wise. That was atrocious.
On a side note, watermelons buy one get one free at Publix, and it's delicious this week.